Greetings, salutations, respect, and love. I am Scott, and you, my dear friends, have wandered onto the Prog Corner, where today I am wrapping up Karisma Week. Karisma Records, that great Norwegian label that's been putting out some of the greatest prog rock of the last 10 or 15 years. Yeah, today we're concluding Karisma Month with a review of the brand new album by Tusmørke. Oh yeah, I love Tusmørke. You guys know I love my Norwegian prog, and Tusmørke is no exception at all. These guys were formed in 1994. They called themselves something Fleurs de Mal, and they had a cat named Andres Prestmo, who perhaps you know later on would show up in a little band called Wobbler. But yeah, they kind of take a lot of weird influences. You hear some krautrock like Can and Amandul too. You hear some space rock like Gong in there. Incredible String Band has been cited as a reference, but I know the Mamrak brothers are really into this weird Turkish music, you know, going to Istanbul and buying a bunch of albums and posting it on their socials. So I hear a lot of that weird kind of stuff in there too. The Canterbury influences in there. These guys are just special. I called them the weirdest band in the world a couple of weeks ago, and I'm sticking by it, man. But who are they, and why do I care about them? Well, let's run down their discography. Their first album, well, let's pull them out here. Got a few here. I don't have the children's albums. They have 3 children's albums out, but I need to get those. I don't have them. The first album came out in 2012, Under Jordisk Tusmørke. And this has some extra bonus tracks on here. The Fleurs de Mal tracks, so you get a little bit of Andres Prestmo on here. Fantastic debut album. 2 years later, in 2014, their sophomore album, Rizet Bak Spilet, came out. Fantastic. I love this album. Their third album came out in 2016, Fort Bak Lysik, with the frog scooping up all the pharmaceuticals. Great album cover. And then they did Hinsides, another great album. Real dark. Look at there's skulls and stuff on there. We love that. Then they did like an odds and sods kind of thing called Oslo Bergelig Tusmørke. Fantastic. The same year, 2018, Fjernsyn I Farver came out. I guess that translates to color television. Great album, great artwork. I love it. And then in 2021, Nordisk Krim came out, their double album. Just an amazing record. Probably my favorite Tusmørke album. If you put a gun to my head, I'd probably pick this one. And then last year, Hestehoven came out. Fabulous little record. Fantastic stuff. Mostly in Norwegian. This time around, we're doing it a little bit different. The brand new album, Dawn of Oberon, and this is mostly in English. We got 1 track in Norwegian, but the rest of this is all English, so that might help with some of you clowns that don't like the foreign language stuff. You won't have too much of a problem going through this album. So who is in Tusmørke? Well, it is the Mamrak brothers. Benedictor plays bass and sings, and Krisla is the flute player, and he sings also. Their voices are almost identical, right? When I had them on the show, I tried to pin them down like, you know, who's singing what, and their voices are so similar that it's almost impossible to tell them apart. And they are joined by new keyboard player Herje Kongen. I have no idea. They had a different keyboard player for Hestehoven, and then before that they had Lars Fredrik Frøsli from Wobbler, and the new drummer, Kuzkin. He is actually no longer in the band. He left right after the recording of this album, but he's got a really unique and different style, which makes this album a little bit different than any other Tusmørke album. There are 6 songs on here. It's 43 minutes long, so yeah, it's a perfect length just to sit down and chill out and be transported to some weird, dark Norwegian forest or something where you got wizards and, you know, cauldrons and all this black magic going on. Album comes out Friday, August 30th on Karisma, on vinyl, CD, and digital. Oh, yeah, so let's go through these 6 tracks here. It opens with the epic. I love that, man. It opens with the epic track, which is the title track. It's 17 almost 18 minutes long, so it's a real nice opening piece, but it took me a while to get into because it's real kind of laid back and taking you into all kinds of different spacey territory. This different drummer, man, he's got a real light touch. Apparently he's like a jazz drummer, so it's a whole different thing here. You got the flute and the mellotron and the bass doing a cool ascending little bass line. You're in G minor to start the song, but then it shifts over into A minor, and you're in 5 most of the time here. There's some weird Turkish influences found in here, which I really, really like. And then there's a section that recalls King Crimson's Indoor Games for some reason. I don't know why. It doesn't sound anything like it, but the melody kind of reminds me of it. This song took me a while to get through. I didn't like it at first. I thought it was a bit meandering, but man, all the themes, all the melodies, the way they weave everything through, it sounds a little weird and slight, but trust me, stay with it. Listen to this one a couple times and tell me that it's not a fantastic track. I love it, man, but you know, they follow it up with 5 shorter tracks. The first one is called Born to be Mild. It's 3.5 minutes long. And it starts out shifting between an A major and a G major chord. You're just toggling back and forth between those 2 chords. We'll see that in another song later. Those same 2 chords. Very lighthearted. Kind of making me think of Caravan on this track. There's something that sounds like a guitar on here. They do this sometimes. Where they've got the keyboards playing something that sounds exactly like a guitar. But I know they don't play guitars, man. There's no guitars on this band. And then they kind of call back Born to be Wild on here. It's a cool little track. I like it. Next up is Dwarven Lord. It's a 5-minute track. It's really cool. You got a real simple riff in A, but it's very cool. Piano, bass, and flute dominate this track. It's slow. It's hypnotizing. It's kind of hallucinogenic, like you would expect from Tusmørke. The Fairy Queen on the scene. Do your thing. Oh, yeah, so great. Only Tusmørke can get away with singing a line like that. Next up is the second longest track, and it's also the only one in Norwegian, Midsummer Night's Dream, which I guess is Norwegian for Midsummer Night's Dream, right? Starts with a real Canterbury kind of flair with the bass, and there's an organ, right? Making you think of like, you know, the Hatfields or something, and then you got that flute coming in. Real jazzy, kind of a swing feel on here. And like I said, it is in Norwegian, so I like Tusmørke in Norwegian, but these guys kind of go back and forth. They don't care what language they're speaking in. Some of their albums are mostly Norwegian. Some, like the last album, is mostly English. They don't care. They just do whatever they want to do, and I love that about them. Real cool tempo change at the midway point on this song. Great piano soloing going on. Mellotron comes in. A little bit of a krautrock kind of feel throughout this song with a little bit of a hypnotic motoric beat going on, but fantastic. I love it. The next 2 tracks are the last 2 tracks, and they're kind of sort of instrumentals in that you've got some vocalizations, but there's no real singing. The first one is called People View, and I absolutely love this track, man. I was starting to get a little out of it with the shorter tracks, and then this thing comes around and just puts me right back. Beautiful bass line starts it out with the synth, and then you get the flute. Of course, it's Tusmørke. It's just beautiful and stately. It's unassuming. It's intoxicating. Like I said, it's almost all instrumental. You get some la-la-las in there. But what I'm hearing here is kind of like Focus, man. This sounds like a Focus track to me. I absolutely love it. And the drummer's actually kind of alive here. Most of the album, he's real soft with this real light touch. Here he's actually playing a little bit more of a rock style, and it's appreciated. But People View, fantastic song. Last track is called Troll Mail, and it's another 5-minute track. And again, it starts out as we're toggling between A major and G major. You got vocalizations on here, kind of spaced out. I think there's some lyrics kind of buried in the background on this track. You get a little bit of flute entering, and then you got a little jazzy break at 1:30 that sounds amazing. Really, really good. It is neat. It is clean. It's just like a real simple 4/4 beat on this song. Tusmørke doesn't play around a whole lot with meter. Rhythmically, they're pretty simplistic. Melodically and harmonically, they're not really all that complicated either, but that's not what Tusmørke's all about, man. Tusmørke is all about creating these beautiful passages is, creating this whole world that I've never heard before. Yeah, there's bands that kind of sort of sound like Tusmørke over the years, but nobody sounds like Tusmørke. I love these guys. They're one of my favorite bands. You know that. So how am I going to score this brand new Tusmørke, man? Well, you know, this one's going to have some replay value for me, I think, because it is so unique within the discography of Tusmørke. It's a little more chill, a little more laid back, perhaps a little jazzier with that light touch drumming all the way through. So, yeah, I'm really, really happy with this album. I like it a lot. What's my score going to be, boys and girls? I'm giving this puppy 8 out of 10 because it's outstanding. I love it. Very, very cool album. Very, very cool band. Tomorrow on the program, boys and girls, I am going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be talking to the great, the one, the only, JT Curtis. Oh, I'm so excited. This guy here, if you don't know, he's got his own YouTube channel called The History of Rock. He played George Harrison on Broadway in a little production called Let It Be, brought the house down. His dad was famous, so I'm really looking forward to talking to JT about his brand new prog album, Elements. And then, you know how it is. Stay. Okay, you know how it is. Every Sunday, we do the live Sunday prog stream. This Sunday's going to be no different, 11 o'clock a.m. Join us for that. Anyway, boys and girls, peace in the Middle East, free the Tibet, free the Ukraine, free the Willie, free everybody, and God save that king. Save King Chucky. Oh, that boy, he needs your saving right now. Yeah, he does. Oh, bring him to America. Bring that boy to America. He needs some saving. Oh, yeah. We got some good doctoring, and we'll lay hands on him. The lay hands of healing on that boy, and then we'll drink some poison. We'll do spells and incantations. None of that's going to work. We know what's going to work. Hey, Billy Bob, bring out them snakes. Oh, yeah. Let's dance with snakes, and King Chucky will be just fine. Yes, he will. I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.